If you're ambitious but lazy, here is the harsh truth. No one's coming to save you. These are the 9 truths that helped me transform my life from being a broke student to a $1 million business owner. And this is exactly what it takes to stop procrastinating and take action to build the life that you've always dreamed of. So let's get into it. My first truth is that procrastination is just fear in disguise. This is so controversial, but laziness isn't real. It is just made up in your head. There are no lazy people. You were not born lazy. Think of little kids. When kids are just being kids, they have energy, they have enthusiasm. They're excited to go figure out what's on the table or play with mom or dad's hair. Kids are naturally excited and enthusiastic, but something starts to happen later in life. It's losses, it's challenges, it's difficulties, and it's all these ideas that create this distraction for us where we start to think, hey, maybe we're just lazy. You're not lazy. You have to stop telling yourself that. You just need to get really clear on what your goals are so that you're able to get out of this slump of quote unquote laziness and take action to create the life that you want. And this simple thought process shift changes everything, because if you stop identifying yourself as a lazy person, you're not going to be lazy any longer. You're just going to start taking action because that's actually who you're meant to be. And when you take a deeper look at laziness, it's likely very connected to your fears. What are you scared of? Are you scared of failing? Are you scared of not getting what you want? Are you scared of not being able to be the person that you've always dreamed of being, or taking the shot and missing? If you can attack the fear and remove the label, you're free to just create in life. You're free to take action in life. So recognizing this fear is the first step to eliminating it. When you expose the fear behind your procrastination, you take away its power. Next is truth number 2, which is laziness is just a habit, and habits can be replaced. This is the fastest way to kill laziness. Be so busy that you don't have time to be lazy. Your greatest tool in killing your own laziness is actually scheduling things on your calendar. I know it sounds silly and maybe even stupid. Why would I use my calendar to kill my laziness? Because if you are forcing yourself to go do something, you have a block of something that you have to do on your calendar. You're increasing your likelihood that you're going to do this. And white space on your calendar is the devil. If you have white space, that gives you the opportunity to be lazy. But when you have dinners to go to, when you have work to go to, when you have a workout to go to, you can't be lazy because you have a place to be. You have some place to go. So this kills your laziness just by being able to use your calendar to have space marked off to say, I'm going to do this thing. And the double hack on this is schedule something during the times that you know you tend to be lazy. For me, this looks like laziness late at night. From 8 to 10:30, it would be very easy for me to just binge some Real Housewives, to maybe go on TikTok for too long, check out the gram. Instead of doing that, I'm going to schedule something that I have to do from 8 until 10. Why? Because then I don't have that opportunity to be lazy. I have someplace to go. I have something that I need to do. These things could be meetings. They could be a workout. It could be going out and seeing friends that can help you with your goals and you guys are collaborating on something. Anything that would require you to get out of your bed or wherever your laziness spot is and actually go do something that's producing, that's getting you closer to your goals. And remember, momentum is the key to overcoming inaction. Even a 10-minute workout or a 10-minute walk rewires your brain to take action. My third truth is that your environment is everything. Your closest friends might be ruining your life. And if you want to win, you have to surround yourself with winners. I had to take a good hard look at the people that I was spending time with, and people who allowed me to make excuses for why I wasn't further along, and some of them who might have even laughed at the ambitions and the goals and the dreams that I had. And I had to say, are these people helping me get to where I want to go? And when I really looked at my friends, some of them were antagonistic. Some of them really did make fun of me or laugh at me or subtly put me down. However, when I really look back and analyze what happened when I had to cut off some of my friends in order to get to where I am today, it had nothing to do with them being bad people and had everything to do with I didn't feel good about myself when I was spending time with them because I knew I could have been spending my time in a better place, in a more productive place. Instead of feeling compelled to go to dinner on a Friday night, have some drinks, have a little gossip session, I really realized that that time could have been used to get me closer to where I wanted to be. And I kept making these excuses that I didn't have time to practice being a public speaker, or I didn't have time to learn about money and how the financial system worked. But when I really looked at my time, it's like, outside of work, where am I spending it? Oh, I'm spending it with my friends, and I love my friends, and most of my friends are pretty awesome and fantastic, and they're good people. But that doesn't mean that I can use the fact that I feel compelled to spend time with them as a reason to not get closer to where I'm trying to go. So for quite a long period, I just had to say, I can't hang out right now. And it's not you, and it really isn't you, it's actually me, because I have these ambitions, but I can't be ambitious and continuing to do what I'm doing and get to where I'm trying to go. One of these things have to give. And at the time, I realized my ambitions were more senior, they were more important to me than the comfort that I felt with my friends. And if my friends were real friends, they would support me in this. If they weren't real friends, they weren't gonna support me, and therefore they weren't real friends. So what the frick am I doing spending time with them anyway? So if you're serious about your goals, don't blame it on your friends for why you're not gonna get there. Reprioritize your time, and your real friends will stick with you in that process. The fourth truth is definitely one that you've heard before. Discipline beats motivation every time. You are still stuck because you're waiting for motivation. This is what you have to do. You have to treat success like it is your job. Like you have something that you have to show up for no matter what. It is your responsibility, and you take steps every single day in order to get to where you're trying to go. My favorite quote from Grant Cardone is, "Success is your duty, obligation, and responsibility." You have a responsibility to be successful. Think of how irresponsible it is to be lazy. And sometimes I have to tell myself this. I'm like, Natalie, you could on a Saturday morning just be hanging out in your house. You built this house for 4 years. It would be really cool to just like enjoy it. Maybe go in the pool that you've never swam in before. That'd be freaking awesome. But wait a second, I have to be successful. There's a lot of people who are depending on me. And even if you don't think so today, there are actually a lot of people who are depending upon you. And if you can't figure out this laziness piece, if you can't figure out how to actually make your ambitions your reality, you're gonna feel really crappy about yourself eventually. Because if you know that you are capable of doing something, doing that thing and being successful at it is your duty, should be your obligation, and should be your responsibility to actually create this in your life so that you can be an example for other people. Next up is truth number 5. Which is, if you don't control your time, someone else will. If you feel like every day is too short to accomplish your to-do list, then watch this. You have to start to control your time. Back in the day, I used to waste hours that probably accumulates to days, if not months, of time on Netflix, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, having pointless conversations with people that didn't actually help me get to where I want to go. And I did this because I didn't realize that my most valuable asset is my time. And the cold hard truth is that if you don't take control of your schedule, you'll wake up in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, maybe on your deathbed, realizing, where the heck did my potential go? I just wasted all of this time. Now, I am married to somebody who is 25 years older than me. He is the love of my life. He is my best friend, and it was a terrifying decision to decide to marry him because I thought about, what on earth am I gonna do when I'm 65 years old? It is very likely, from a statistical standpoint, that my husband will no longer be around. This urgency created a fire under me because it just made me realize every day looking at him that time is short. I won't always have him around. Therefore, how am I spending my time today to create what we want to build together? And you don't necessarily have to marry somebody who's older than you or have somebody die in order for you to just live life like this, to where you take your time seriously and you recognize that it is short, and you maybe get a little fearful and maybe a little bit sad every once in a while thinking about how quickly time is moving, because you can use those feelings and you can use those emotions to drive you to do important stuff and to make action and to take risks and to move from, hey, I'm lazy and I just don't feel like it, to I gotta get going because time's going away. So you have to remember that you control your time. My 6th truth is this: your brain is wired for instant gratification and it's making you weak. Your phone is keeping you broke. Because when you use your phone every single day for that little dopamine hit, that little scroll, that little anticipation of what the next thing is, you're getting distracted. And it's creating this laziness. It's forcing you to just continue to look over here instead of making progress on what's important. So how do you rewire your brain for the dopamine hit to be progress towards your goal versus the distractions on your phone? Endlessly scrolling and quick dopamine hits, it makes it harder to focus and take real action. This was my hack in order to overcome this. I recognize that me being addicted to social media was what was keeping me away from taking action on my goals. So I put a new rule in place. And my rule was I wasn't allowed to consume social media until I had created on social media. I still believe that today, wherever you are watching this right now, we are in the greatest time for content creation. There is no reason that you can't get to where you're trying to go in the easiest path forward, in the easiest path possible, just by creating content, sharing your story, bringing people into what you do every single day, so you can get known for being an awesome communicator and putting your message out there, putting your thoughts out there. It is such a valuable skill. So instead of scrolling and consuming, you have to switch your mindset to creation first, and then you get the dopamine reward because you did that action. You created content before you consumed content. I'm not saying don't go on social media. I still love to go on social media, but I create a crap ton of content every single day so that I feel good about going on social media. It's like my little reward every single day that I get to see what other people are doing. Not because I'm desperate to go see them and I'm desperate to go have this dopamine rush. No, it's because I created great content. I put myself out there. Now as that reward, I get to watch other people do the same thing. So the fastest way to break your addiction is to replace consumption with creation. And that brings us to the seventh truth. And this is a hard one. Nobody cares about you until you have results. If people aren't taking you seriously, it's because you don't have results. If you haven't done anything important or accomplished something huge, people have no reason to listen to you. This is a hard pill to swallow. I always imagine what it would be like to have Taylor Swift or Kim Kardashian walk into one of our boardrooms. Would anybody not be asking them their opinion? Would anybody not take their direction seriously? No. Everybody is going to listen, pay attention. They're going to sit up differently. They're going to perpetuate in certain ways. They're just going to focus. Why? Because Taylor Swift and Kim Kardashian, despite what your opinions might be about them, they've done big shit. You know them, and they've created an impact. So when you think about the fact that nobody cares about your opinion, no one's interested in what you have to say, you just get the opportunity to go from obscurity and no one caring to creating real results in something so that people will actually listen to you because they know that you're an expert in something. They know that they can take you seriously. They know that they can trust you to achieve a result. If you're just some random person talking about your opinions, I'm sorry, I just have to tell you how it is. Your opinions don't mean a lot until you have stats, and no one cares about your story until they see your stats. I think back to the time that I found Elena Cardone on the internet. I imagined what it would be like to be her friend, and I had to take a hard look at myself because I was not the type of person at that time that Elena Cardone would hang out with. I couldn't wake myself up in the morning. I wasn't working out or in great shape. I didn't have many stats to be able to share, hey, this is this cool thing that I'm doing. She had all of these cool things that she had going on in her life. And I didn't have a lot of things that I'd created in my life yet that I could be really proud of. And so I started to become the person that I would need to be in order to be friends with her because I had this goal of being friends with her. Do you ever find people on the internet where you're like, man, I would love to hang out with this person? Well, imagine who you have to be in order to hang out with that person. What cool stuff would you have to have going on in your life? What important decision are you making or product are you creating where someone would be like, oh, I can take that person seriously? Even on your social media, if I was to look you up on social right now, what are you posting about? What kind of content are you creating? Is it cool? Is it interesting? Are you putting yourself out there? Are you quiet? Are you silent? Do you do nothing? It really represents who you are and the type of impact that you want to make. And if you're talking about cool things and you're doing big things, guess what? People who are also doing big things want to be around you. But that requires stats. This is how you turn ambitiousness with laziness into action. You do it through consistency. If you started posting on social media every single day and you're putting yourself out there, You might not have great views and you might not have great engagement, but it is still respectable and is still a stat that you put out 3 pieces of content a day and that you did that for 2 years straight. Eventually you would figure it out if you actually committed to doing that. But the point is that you have to start somewhere, and the stat when you're starting is the consistency. The consistency has to be in place because you don't have stats in other ways. But a stat in and of itself is the ability to be consistent, because most people aren't. They give up, they quit right after the 5th post or maybe the 10th day of posting, the 12th workout. They're like, I'm good, I'm out, I can't do this any longer. So consistency is the first thing that you have to work on if you're really interested in going from being ambitious and lazy to ambitious and crushing your goals. The next truth is number 8, which is to stop guessing and learn from the best. Do not take advice from people whose life you wouldn't want to copy. My biggest hack for success is reading books. And I used to just read any random book that I liked the cover of. I was that person. I would buy a book at Barnes & Noble's after perusing the aisles just based off of what the cover looked like. It's like, oh, this one's fun, it's pink, it has cool font. And then I learned that information is not created equally. Just because something has a pretty cover to it does not mean that there is depth, does not mean that it actually works, does not mean that I would want to follow what this person has to say. So you have to get over the vanity of the content. Does the person creating this advice, does the person creating this method? There are so many people online giving real estate advice who have never bought successfully and sold successfully a piece of real estate. It's just their freaking opinion. You should never listen to those people, but they sound convincing. So when you think about leveling up from your lazy, broken mindset right now to actually getting to be ambitious and achieving what you want, not only are you reading books, but you're reading books about people or from people who have done what you are trying to do. This is the greatest hack in order to skip steps to be successful. Read books from people who have done big shit. That brings us to the final truth, number 9. The best investment you will ever make is in yourself. Spend money on yourself and you will be successful. Now, I'm not talking about designer bags or fancy things. That's not the type of money that you need to spend on yourself. You need to spend money on yourself to educate yourself, to get yourself skills that are valuable, that would allow you to make more money and to contribute at a higher level. Invest in you, invest in you, invest in you, and you will find that that investment is the greatest ROI that you can ever have. You can go from not knowing how to make $50,000 a year to learning how to make $500,000 a year, to learning how to make $5 million a year. That would make more sense for you to learn those skills through investing in education and skills for yourself than you putting your money in somebody else's hands, like in a 401k, just for it to grow maybe a 2, 3, 4% a year. That's growth in the thousands, but not in the millions. And that doesn't give you any confidence. You're letting somebody else grow your money. What if you could grow you that would allow you to grow your money? And so this idea of investing in yourself can look like books, courses, events, coaches. As soon as I learned that spending my money, which puts my attention on learning from people that have the life that I want, or who have a skill that I would like to acquire, or possess some sort of knowledge that I just want to eat up and be able to leverage in my life, that this was the hack, my entire life changed. And just this hack of investing my money to get in proximity to these people, and I'm going to shoot you straight. Success is expensive, but so is not having the information or the tools for you to become successful. If you don't know how to make $1 million, the fact that you don't have that education, if you're currently making $100,000, means that you've lost $900,000. So would it be worth it to you to invest $100,000 for you to learn how to make $1 million? So the opportunity cost of you not having this information is more expensive than investing the money to get the education, to get the experience. But most people think, oh no, I need to save my $5,000. I can't possibly spend it on this course or this event or this set of books or this education. It's ridiculous. Your mentality, whenever you pick up a book or you educate yourself on anything, should be, what is my expected return on this investment of my time and my money? Because if I'm going to invest $5,000 into something, I'm going to expect that I learn something and I pick up something that's going to make me $50,000. If I go into it thinking that I'm going to find $50,000 worth of value, I will find $50,000 worth of value. But if I go into it just thinking, oh, it'd be nice to learn something, and you're casual about it, you're never going to find the thing that you're looking for. So when you're investing in books, it's important to do 2 things. The first make sure that you actually know that the person that wrote the book has stats. The second thing that you're going to do is you're going to set your expected return on the investment of your time and your money from that book or from that course. Because as soon as you do that, you will find what you were looking for because you're specific and you're intentional about exactly what you need. Laziness and procrastination are robbing you of everything you say you want. So stop waiting, stop making excuses, decide, move, execute. Winners do not wait until they're ready. They start before they're ready. And if you're ready to stop being stuck, check out my video on how to become unstuck.